Girl,
Girl,
bye. Girl, bye.
bye, girl, bye.
Girl, bye. Girl, bye.
Welcome to your safe space, honey. This is Girl Bye, the podcast amplifying queer voices and kicking down the doors to so-called normalcy. Get ready for real talk, fierce discussions, and a whole lot of yes, honey. Hi, and welcome to Girl Bye. Today, our guest is somebody that you might have seen on TikTok on your For You page, telling you your zodiac and letting you know that you need to get your life together, or possibly beating a mug behind the camera and giving you the best looks you're going to see on the internet. Ace, welcome to Girl Bye. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. Awesome.
Yes, I'm excited. I'm excited to have you. I think it's great for us to dive into a little bit of your story and also your makeup journey. So, before we get into the nitty gritty of who you are in your life, let's introduce yourself a little bit to everybody listening. Tell them, if they don't already know who you are, and where you're from, and what do you like to do in your free time.
Well, my name is Ace Elite. I have my social media handle is at the Ace Touch. I have my own mobile beauty business. So I've been doing makeup since about 2009. I've done that for a while. I now got into TikTok. My TikTok community has grown now over like 91,000, something like that. We've been on there for a while. I've been about like 4 years, and I feel like that's where like my platform has kind of taken off, not just based off my talent as far as my makeup, but also like my personality. Do a lot of like lip sync videos, things like that. And I've just recently dove a little more deeper into like the live stream world. So I'm trying to build my live stream community on that. And we do horoscopes, we hang out. So a lot of different things on my page, a lot of different things.
For everybody listening, if you have not been on Ace's page, you have to go to his TikTok and watch some of the comedy skits that he has done. They are extremely funny, and some of them will literally have you rolling on the floor laughing. Because they are, I will say that my friends probably hate the amount of times I have sent some of your meme videos to
Oh my
them.
God. I love that though. I appreciate that because, that helps other people like see my stuff. So it definitely, my stuff makes me laugh. So when I record my stuff, I always look back and before I post it and I make myself laugh. So the fact that other people can laugh with me, it just makes it so much more better. Like, I appreciate it.
Yeah. The life on social media is really just you making fun of yourself to yourself. And as long as that works, other people will resonate.
Yeah, you meet a lot of different people. TikTok has definitely been the first app to really kind of show me the behind the scenes world of social media, being a creator and, just meeting other people in the industry. You see a different side of it because there's like, you have the
Yeah.
viewers, the supporters, and then you have the creators that are like behind the scenes. So it's definitely taught me a lot. I've met a lot of amazing people that I consider them my close friends. Like we talk all the time. So, and if it wasn't for social media, it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah. We love social media. I mean, it
Yeah.
is truly reimagining the way we make friends and talk to people and expand and grow, and the amount of knowledge we can get from just teaching each other and going out and finding certain information. I mean, knowledge is power and it is there. You just got to go get it.
It really is. It really is. Yeah, you definitely, and it's very quick. It's instant knowledge. Like it's right there. If you want to search it up, just look it up. So,
Right. So to rewind on your life and take us back to your younger years, when did you officially learn that you were part of the queer community?
I would have to say like when I was very young, I definitely would look at male figures and see like appreciate like the things like that. Just I don't know, like I just noticed since I was younger, and I kind of held on to that. A cousin of mine, we came out pretty much together, And so we came out to each other. So we were like our best friends. So we told each other about like everything. And that's what grew us so close. So all of like my younger years growing up, that was who I kind of confided in. And whenever I had like little crushes, things like that, like, or we would admire people, we would talk to each other about it. But that's like as early as like 8, 9, like, like, oh my God, like, I would watch the Power Rangers and we would be like, ooh, which Power Ranger you like? And I'm like, different things like that. And so growing up, we always had each other. And so in my teens, we kind of moved away and we moved to Florida. And so I didn't have him anymore. And so I kind of felt like lonely. And my high school years, it's like crucial to like have your best friend there. And so I didn't feel like I could really talk, even though I had my circle of friends, they didn't know that part of me. And so I couldn't really like be 100% myself. And so I remember one time I came out to one of my friends and I just told her, and she was like, oh no, like I love you and I accept you how you are. And so it kind of like felt like a relief. And so I was like,
Right.
wait, like if I could tell her, like I could just like, tell whoever. And so around that time was around like MySpace days when MySpace was popping. And so, but it was also around the time where it's like, there's that weird time when something comes out where like let's say is MySpace and it's only for people of our age bracket and then like all of a sudden I got like my aunts and my uncles and my like people adding me as a friend and so I'm like okay
Yeah.
and I had one specific aunt which was said cousin's mom, who's that aunt that was like in everybody's business. And so I knew that I felt more comfortable being asked about it than me just coming out and saying it. So I just like kind of switched it on my page and I put bi on my page. And so when I did that, it was kind of like a, you know what, if they ask me about it, they ask me about it, but I'm tired of hiding it. And
Yeah.
so my cousin calls me first and he's like, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Like, why do you have that on there? Like, because I come from a very strict family from New York, Puerto Rican family from New York. I've had a lot of like family that were like, members or whatever that like did not play about all that. And so I was like, I had a lot of guy cousins. And so it was just hard. And so when he told me that, I was like, no, I'm just tired of hiding. And I knew that his like mom would be the first one to see it. So I just waited it out. I waited it out. And it was like 2 weeks of just waiting for somebody to notice it. But like 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden I remember like I got that call and at that time we had like, there's a kitchen phone, there's a cordless phone. So the cordless phone was in my room. And I remember the phone rang, and for some reason, I didn't even know who it was, but like I just got that feel in my stomach. I was like, oh, I think this is the day. All of a sudden, like I heard my mom like yell from the kitchen. She's like, she called my name. She's like, answer the phone. I was like, oh, this is that time.
The
So I answer
call.
the phone. Yeah, I answer the phone, and it's like it's my aunt, and I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, like I was on, MySpace, and I was on your page, and she's like, I saw that it said like bi, like, did you mean like bilingual or like what did you mean by it? And I was like, I was like, uh, and my mom was on the other phone and she's like, answer her. I was like, oh my God. So I told her, I was like, no, yeah. I was like, that's what it means and all that stuff. And my mom like hung up the phone. She left, like she walked out the apartment and she was just pissed. And I got like an hour lecture from each aunt and uncle telling me like, oh, how much they love me and all
Yeah.
that stuff. And but she like I was super close to my mom because my mom was like, she was a single mom and I was the oldest. So for my mom and like we were so close and that like she stopped talking to me for almost a week and it was like hard. It was very, very hard because it's like I'm in a new place, and then like now I don't even have my mom talking to me. So now, like, I literally would just come home from school. I would like walk past the living room. She wouldn't even look at me, and I'd just go straight to my room, and I'd just stay in my room. And so like it was super hard. But she eventually like came around, and I guess she noticed like how she was treating me, and so she came
Yeah.
in. She was like, "Hey, like I want to talk to you," and She was like, I know I've been treating you differently, but she's like, I'm sorry about that. It's just a surprise. And I wasn't like, I was in shock and I didn't know how to handle it. And she was like, You're my son. I love you unconditionally. I'm just scared and I'm worried for you because there's a lot of people who don't like that and it's dangerous. And she was like, It worries me. And so I was like, Yeah, I understand. And she was like, all I ask is that you like let me know who you're talking to and try to like to keep it from me. And I was like, I was 16 at the time. So I'm like, okay, like I'll tell you who I'm talking to. No, I didn't. But, from there on, like she kind of like would like come around and, but that definitely was like a turning point in our relationship. So it's, up and down, up and down.
Yeah, and it gets you to learn a lot as the process goes along in general. You, as a young person growing up, and your parents kind of figuring it out, like your mom having to kind of go through that and just understand the new process, I think is going to be difficult either way. I tell everybody on this podcast that in general, I feel like we we learn as we kind of go along how to manage these different things. Because I think when we're born as young people, that perception that our parents have of who we're going to be and what we're going to do and how our lives are going to go is so like embedded in their brain that the moment we change it, it freaks them out, right? And they have like a plan, and their plan is now all messed up and they don't know what's going on. I think it's weird how everybody manages it, but I think it's how we get past that point and grow and develop and stuff like that. So, how's your relationship now as time has gone on?
Well, as I get older, I definitely realize what you're saying about that. Like, now I'm about close to the age where she was when that happened. So, like, it's kind of like makes me realize things. And it's like, dang, like, I don't have kids. I didn't go that route. But I raised other people's kids. Like, my sister, she's lived with me since she was 13, all that stuff. So, like, there's a lot of things that, kind of like up and down with our relationship. I feel like
Yeah.
it's starting to get better, but it's definitely not as close as it was before. We were close after I came out for a while, but then other things happened to where it's like, all right, it's kind of like we kind of love from a distance a little bit. So, you know.
Well, however the balance works is how it needs to work. I
Yeah.
think it all takes time to grow and develop as you go along. And being queer in Florida, of all places,
Yeah.
is terrible. Um, so when you were growing up in New York, what part of New York were you
I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, so the city.
living? Nice. And then ended up in Florida about what age?
So we moved to Florida for about like 2 or 3 years during like my high school years, and then we moved back to New York. So and then we were there for like another 9 years. So I didn't officially move to Florida, I would say, until 2013. It was 2013. So I've been here about 11 years now, and so it's been
Okay.
a while. So, but that's how long I've been here on my like my own journey.
Right.
When I was in high school, it was kind of like we moved out here because of her. Like, so there's a lot of moving
Yeah.
around when I was younger.
Yeah. It's crazy. It sounds like we almost have the same exact life. So it's crazy to see how like your journey can evolve so much. And now that you're kind of getting older, uh, from that initial like age of 16, 17, and you're coming out and you're getting to know who you are and getting to know more about yourself. Uh, how did you figure out what your next steps were kind of growing up and getting to know people that were more like you, and expanding just your thought process and learning more about this community that you feel like you're a part of?
Well, I didn't really dive into the community until I moved back to New York. So when I came out, I was what freshman, sophomore in high school, and we were here for a little while, but I still wasn't really part of the community. Like I was in high school, so like there wasn't really a lot of people that were out. I was like, the one that hung out with all the girls, like everybody. Like I was the token guy. So I was the one that like,
That's token gay.
yeah, I was the one that like hung out with all the girls, and the guys were cool with me because I knew all the girls, and like, I wasn't like popular, but like I got along with different groups of people. So,
Yeah.
I was definitely grateful about that. But like, I didn't really learn a lot about the community until I moved back to New York. And I would go to like the village, and I learned about like the ballroom scene and the houses. And, I was brought into my first house, and I learned about the family. And growing up, that's how I learned about the community. And from there on, that like kickstarted everything because I was club promoting. I did drag for a little bit. Like, there was a lot of different things that I learned from the community, and I loved it.
Yeah. What category did you walk in the ball?
So
See?
I never actually walked a ballroom. I just, was part of the house. Like, I would do drag competitions that were around. So like I've done a few like the drag contests and things like that. So I guess if I were to walk a ballroom, I would either walk Butch Queen up in drag or face. So those were the categories that they were trying to like train me for. I just never walked a ball. I've been to them. I've just never done it myself. So
Well, maybe we need to make that happen
right,
because
that part. I mean, now that I'm like a little older now.
listen, age is
That was
but a
back in,
number.
that was back in my prime.
That was before
But
these
today's such a
wrinkles
new
start
world,
setting in.
though. Yeah, this today's such a new world. I mean, I still have like my family, so now like I've learned a lot from being part of like a house. And so starting my own family, and I have my group of friends, and we're building kind of like our version of a house where we have other, positive social media influencers that are coming out. Like, even if they're straight, they're allies, they support us. Like, they all have their own messages to deliver. And so the fact that, like, being on social media, we have such a
Yeah.
reach. We have such a reach, and we could do so much good if we all combined our powers together. Like, pretty much all of our communities together could literally like make a change for something, whatever
We
the message
can
would be.
we can definitely sway a vote.
Yeah, definitely. And it's like, and it's also too like you open so many different eyes, and that's why a lot of like my friends that are now in like the social media world, like we're all in different niche. So whenever we meet up, we try to like cross our communities together. Like, I have friends that are dancers that are on dance TikTok. I'm more of a lip syncer. I do skits. So like, we'll come together and we'll collaborate. Like, they'll have me do a dance, and I'll have them do a lip sync, and both of our communities are like, oh my god, look at these two like getting together. Like, we never see him dance, or we never see him do
Right.
a lip sync. And so like it just, that's how you meet a lot of different people.
Yeah, and it's extending the reach. It's creating more categories of people just coming together. It is beautiful because that is the main thing and the main purpose of this podcast, right? It's like bringing community together and having a safe space where we can all express ourselves in who we are, what we do, what we enjoy doing, and being able to kind of continue to get everybody to see all of these different aspects. Because I think a lot of us too, I know, like for me personally, I am not an actually good singer,
Hmm.
but I love singing. Like I'm like
Yeah,
the person that could be like, I'm in the shower and I am at my number one Beyonce concert and I am
that
Beyonce.
part.
Now, are the cats outside dying from my singing? Probably, but that's okay because I'm by myself and I'm doing it. But I feel like sometimes I watch like a lot of these other people sing online, and it helps me kind of continue to like push those people and encourage them because I see their talent and I see what they can do really really well, and like continuing that group and just saying, hey, these people are great. You should just go see what they do and adore people for their talent and what they can entertain you for, and then instead of like what you care about what those people are doing in their private time. It's
Yeah,
really
but they
what.
also inspire you as well. Like, so so it depends on who you surround yourself. And that's why I like to surround myself with a lot of people who are busy doing stuff, because it shows me like, no, there's like, you could do that too. Like, you can be at all these levels, like, and so, and it's not even like comparing yourself to them. It's seeing the possibilities and not putting a limit on your own kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why I like to,
What's this?
what was that?
What's the saying? It's like you're an object of your surroundings or something like that. I don't
Mhm.
remember the technical saying of it, but it very much goes along those lines of like whoever you surround yourself with, those are the people that you're going to be most like.
Mhm.
And like no shade to like the depressed broke girl, but like more than likely, if all of your friends are depressed broke girls, you're going
You
to be
gonna
a
be
depressed broke girl with them.
period. That part. It's true though. It's so true. Because then it's like, it's true what they say, like misery loves company, And it's like,
Yeah.
but on the other hand, like I'm the type of person, like my misery doesn't like company. Like I tend to withdraw when I'm not, myself. And so I like to surround myself with people who kind of like inspire me and push me to do better. Like they see the potential in me. They're like, you could
Right.
be here with us. Like, you already carry yourself like that. You could do it.
Yeah.
Even like being part of social media, like everybody, we get wrapped up in different numbers and stuff like that. And so, like, to me, like, I don't consider myself a massively big creator. I feel like, yes, I have my community and it's a strong community and they support me a lot, but I also at the same time surround myself with people who have bigger communities. So to me, I'm like, I could see the potential of like my family and my support because of like the people I surround myself with. And
Yeah.
so when people in my everyday average like Joe life that I have, I'm not nobody like A-list celebrity, and
Right.
so, but they all support me and they hype me up like I am. Like they're like, no, what are you talking about? Like you're freaking TikTok famous. Like you have a lot of support,
Literally.
stuff like that. Yeah. And so it also reminds me of like to appreciate what I already have, And I also look back and appreciate the people who have rocked with me for like such a long time. And so like I see those. Like there's people that like I recognize as soon as they come into my chat, like they have faithfully like been there all the time, and I try to go live daily, but they come in a lot of the times and they'll come in, they'll keep me company, they'll talk to me in the chat, and I recognize those street names,
Yeah.
and to see the people that have been there for like years, and I'm like, dang, that's crazy. So that's why I get excited to like share like my winnings with people, because it's like these people have been watching me and they're rooting for me, so why
Yeah.
not celebrate with them? And it's taught me
Definitely.
a lot.
That is so true in so many ways. And I think a lot of people do get really, really big and forget those people that were there from the beginning. And I think that's
Hmm.
so good to like continue to show those people who they are and be a part of them and make them a part of your community. Because we all at this point are looking for a community to be a part of. I mean, let's
Exactly.
be real.
That's
And
true.
so creating it and making it bigger and bigger is the most important thing, and there's so much space for all of us to coexist in this social
Exactly.
media realm. uh, you know
Hmm.
but when you started your ballroom journey, I know that you did a little bit of drag. When did you first decide to put on a wig and do drag?
So the first time, so coming out and excuse me. So coming out and experiencing the nightlife and the village, the community, it was very strong out there. Like there's different houses. They're very like, even if they weren't in the ballroom scene, like there were several different houses. There were mini houses. There were like just groups of families, right? And for the people that don't know what houses are, it's groups of families that are like they form a bond together in a relationship and they look out for each other. And so they literally create their own families. And so I was very like when I joined my family, like we're very, I guess, like competitive, and so there was this nightclub in New York, which was Esquilitas. They would have their monthly Diva Search. It was monthly Diva Search, right? And I remember because we would go every month, we watched the show and all that stuff, and all these families would have their girls enter the show because when they win, they get booked there and they could come back for the pageant. So I would go and I'm like, I could do that. Like I'm like, I could do that. And so I was like, I'll bring the win to my family, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. Now at that time when I joined my house father, uh, pretty much the his goal was to inspire and to bring out the best in all of us, right? So, in order to be in the house, you have to have two goals. To him, you have to have two goals, right? Which one is your real life goal, something you want to achieve in your real life, and then one that he would call your kiki goal, like something that you want to accomplish in the scene, right? So, like
Right.
my brothers and my sisters, like we would have different goals. So mine was I wanted to because I had dropped out of school when I moved back. When I turned 18, I dropped out of school because when I moved back to New York, they wanted to put me as a sophomore and I was a senior. And I'm like, I'm not going to go from a sophomore to a senior.
Because you
That's
went to Florida.
because I was in Florida and went back to New York. Yeah. And
Yeah.
so the credits were different. And so I was like, well, that's not going to happen. So I ended up dropping out and I went and I got my GED. And so my goal was to finish my GED and get my security license because I wanted to be a security guard. So he was like, okay, if you can show me that you can accomplish your real life goal, I will do everything in my power to help you accomplish your key goal, but that is our deal. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I went to school, I did it. I got my GED. I ended up taking my courses for my security. And I told him that my key goal was I want to win Diva Search. I want to win that competition. He's like, okay, bet. So he literally spent money on like booking the like rehearsal room, like so we could rehearse, dance rehearsal, help me find people to dance. He did my makeup for the show, like help me with my outfit,
Everything.
all that,
Yeah.
everything that he could to help me with that. And I ended up winning the competition. So we ended up winning, we did good, we worked hard, and everyone came out to support, and it was so amazing. And from there on, like it um I would do competitions as far as like I would do it for like I'm very competitive, so I wouldn't do drag all the time. It wasn't like my career or anything like that. I would do it for fun and for competition, right? And so when I would do it, he told me, hey, if you want to keep doing it though, I helped you win, you have to learn how to do it. I'm like, all right, bet. So I learned how to do my own makeup, get myself ready, and I would do it for competitions and benefit shows. Like I would do it for charity. So those were the only times that I would really do drag. So that's how I got into that. I did it for about like 2 years, or like 2 years.
Nice. Is that where you started? Is that where you started your makeup journey?
Yes, yes, yes. So that's when I
So,
found that I loved doing makeup.
and what about the process, like, is what encouraged you to kind of feel that drive to dive into such a niche market?
For me, what really excited me about the power of makeup was the transformation aspect. Like I got into it because I knew these people out of drag. And to see the power of makeup and they are a completely different figure, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And so
Yeah.
when I would do it for myself, I'm like, okay, this is fun. My thing is, I wasn't like a big fan of like the behind the scenes of the drag community, especially like I was a very glamour girl. Like I like to, be very pretty. And a lot of people see that as a threat. So they're like, okay, like, oh, she thinks like she's the pretty girl, like all that stuff. So I didn't like the
She's a
cattiness.
doll.
Yeah, like she's a doll. Like she did, like I didn't like the cattiness of it. So I'm like, all right, this isn't fun. Like you guys aren't even making fun. So I was like, all right. So I ended up I stopped doing drag, but I wanted to continue with makeup. And so I booked my
Right.
first wedding. And mind you, I booked my first wedding, never done a wedding before, didn't even get to see a picture of the bride. Did like I had a little baby makeup kit. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. Like I was just like, I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah.
And I
Worst
ended
case scenario, you mess up her entire wedding.
right, well, no pressure. It's only her biggest day of her life. Like, we didn't even
Yeah.
do a trial run. Like I appreciated the faith that they had in me.
Yeah.
But I ended up doing really good. She loved it. The family enjoyed my company. They invited me to the ceremony. And so like it's a lot of fun. I had fun. They were inviting me to the reception. Like it was my first like even going to a wedding, like official wedding. So it was exciting for me.
Now, going from doing your first wedding and being able to kind of really set yourself up as like, this could be a real career of mine, is going into doing makeup. What was your original path from there?
Well, I didn't really know where I was going with it. I just knew I loved makeup. So like I was just grabbing anyone to like just be like my little sister was my number one little model. I would just take and she was little at the time, you know? And she was just so excited to like just be a part of it and help it. And so like I got to like be creative, test out different like colors, eyeshadows, all that stuff. And I didn't really take it serious until like I met my first, I guess, reality star. Like around that time, Bad Girls Club was very popular. And so I became friends with Flo. And so she was doing a music video and she did a little music video for it was for Loco Ninja. He was doing a song for America Apparel, I think. It was one of the stores. So it was her first like music video
Yeah.
and she was super excited. She was like, come. So I went and I was there. I was like on set with them, and they were, I got her glammed up, and I got to see all the cameras and things like that. So it was super exciting for me, and that's when I really was like, I want to do this. Like, I really, really like. I love the behind the scenes, and then seeing the video come out and seeing like, oh my god, like I glammed her up, and you
Yeah.
know seeing the finished product, I'm like, yes, like this is, I love that aspect of it because I'm still kind of fulfilling that transformation aspect of it, you know?
And that has to be ultimately a really amazing feeling to see your art in kind of this, what I would consider kind of like this ultimate moment where you see this on, it's going to be on TV, it's going to be anywhere. And so, like, if anybody truly loves what they see, they're going to also try to figure out who did that because we know she didn't.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely like
So,
met a lot of different people, so it's pretty cool.
going from doing this makeup, getting, your makeup in some amazing places and polishing your skills, where did we go on a journey to become award winning and kind of go through that path with you?
Well, it definitely took a little bit of a pause because I focused on more of like my regular work. I would do it here and there. I would do it here and there, and whenever I would get booked, and I started doing more stuff on social media and kind of like pushing myself, pushing my brand, trying to network with different people. So I would work with different local models and different photographers. And so, like, meeting the different photographers is what really branched out my work because whenever they would have a model and they knew my work would make their work easier because they wouldn't have to retouch as much, you know? And so
Yeah.
that when they had like that's how I was able to like work with my first actress. And it was through a photographer that I worked with for so many years that he loved my work. He was like, oh, you have to meet, her name is Naomi Grossman. She was on Freak American Horror Story Freak Show. She played Pepper. And so when I met her, it's like just having all these different connections through people that you've worked with kind of takes you on that journey. And so I I bartended for a little while, so that also helped me network with different people. And after I was working at this small bar and they closed down. So growing up and being a makeup artist for the longest time, I always thought in order to be taken seriously, you had to be part of a brand or you had to work with a brand just because like I'm all self-taught. And so when you work with a brand, people respect you more. They're like, oh, he's like a Mac artist or a Sephora artist, or, it just has that,
Yeah.
they know what they're doing or whatever. And I always had that in the back of my mind, regardless of how many photo shoots I worked on, how many photographers I work with, or how many people, events I've done. I still had that in the back of my mind. And so when I started working at Sephora, that's when like I appreciated working at Sephora because of the things I've learned. I picked up like, learning from different brands and their products and broadening my knowledge on that. But working as a counter artist, I realized how much passion I had for the art because I realized that I wasn't a sales, like I didn't want to sell makeup. Like I didn't want to like push a product, I
Right.
wanted to teach the people, okay, this is what you use. And for me, I just felt like I was like a show pony because I was, I'm like, I can sell if I want to. I'm a bartender. But me having my art and having it pretty much make this business their money and I don't get anything from it, that's where I was like, wait a minute, you're profiting off of my passion. And
Right.
like, we weren't even allowed to like take tips. When we would do people's makeup, like, we weren't even allowed to take tips. Like, we could get fired. And so I was sitting there and I'm like, wow, like, so you just made money off the products that I sold and I used on them, but you're not like I can't even take a tip. So it didn't make sense. So that's when I realized like, wait a minute, no, this is not what I want to do. That's not no. I'm over here doing makeup for models on the like wings of World War II airplanes, and I'm over here stressed out because somebody don't allow me. No, you're not gonna. This is my.
Yeah.
I work so hard to like, you know, not only master my skill but also like build my kit my like it's not a cheap not a cheap passion at all, you know.
No, it is not.
And so like I had that's what made me realize, okay, this is not what I want to do. This is I don't want to be selling something. I'd rather like I love seeing people's reaction of seeing a different side of themselves. Like it's like, oh my God, like I feel like it unlocks a different persona. Like how like Beyonce says when she get on stage, it's like Sasha Fierce. I feel like that's what
Yeah.
happens when people get their makeup done.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, I think no matter where you are in the community, whether you're queer or straight or whatever, um, I, I really think that getting someone to fully transform you into something, whether you are a straight man and if you want to be a weirdo and not wear makeup, whatever, but there's a lot of straight men that wear makeup. So you could get simple makeup done, but I think like the moment of doing what these professional people do in Photoshop, doing it in real life, and taking it and seeing yourself in that very edited version, I
Hmm.
feel like definitely builds a different type of confidence that most people are not like understanding of.
Yeah. I mean, it can be overwhelming at first as well, especially for people who've never like who like they've never done their makeup, never had their makeup done or anything like that. They may not even be the most like I guess feminine to wear makeup or even comfortable to wear makeup, you know. Um but they don't realize that it's literally just enhancing what you already have. Like you see these people, whether male or female, it's only enhancing, you know? The males, you think all those males on TV had those have those full beards or those, those clear under eyes, all that stuff. No, like there's enhancing, There's
Right.
things to enhance that masculine features, you know, things like that, as well as the feminine. Like there's so a lot of the time, especially like I've had clients where I've done their makeup and they've never had their makeup done. And sometimes it could be overwhelming to where they're like, oh my God, I don't know who that person is, which, yes, you know, it's a different person. You have to remember that you're not going to look the same. Like that's why it's called make up, not make down. Like you're trying to make what you already have, like enhance it. So I already
Right.
see it. So when I see people, I already see the potential that it already has. So I get when I do people's makeup, I show them this is what you could look like. This is what you look like in my head, you know. And so I get to show that aspect, even as you know, if people are self conscious and they don't believe that, then I'm like, well, I mean, I see the beauty in everybody. I see it, you know. So
Yeah.
that's how I
It
look at it.
makes total sense. How did you start your journey to kind of trying to win an award, getting qualified for an award? Where did that begin?
So, as far as the Cheer Choice Awards, so the Cheer Choice Awards, it's a yearly charity award show, right? It's a bunch of positive social media influencers that get together. We raise money for charity. We raise money for Spread the Cheer USA, which they help families throughout the year and through the holidays, you know, families in need. And so it's a bunch of us social media influencers that get together once a year and we raise money for charity. We also like reconnect, we kind of like cross promote our brands, and it's just kind of like a
Yeah.
reunion. It's built. I've been to the award show since before it was even an award show. It was like social media my first ever social media meetup, right? And this was
Right.
and it was like what, 4 years ago now? Yeah, 4 years ago, they had a meetup, which it started off as just like a few couples on TikTok where they were like, oh, we're all going to go to Vegas. Let's, let's all meet up together. Cool. Then more people wanted to go. So they were like, oh, like, let's try to raise some money for the wounded soldiers. So the wounded veterans, they wanted to raise money for it. So they came up with the idea, let's do lanyards for the event. So whoever wants to go to the event, we'll do like $15 for a lanyard, and all that money will go to donation. Well, as it was going, it got bigger and bigger, and a lot of people wanted to go to this event. And so it turned out to be, it was like 1,800 people showed up to this event, and we raised like over what, $25,000 for the wounded soldiers, I think it was. And it was just such a great thing to be a part of that. And everyone had so much fun because we were all there. They were like,
Yeah.
okay, how can we do this next year to where, we can make it even bigger? And that's when they were like, oh, let's do an award show where we can honor these positive social media influencers, right? So we'll have like anyone who's on social media, they can nominate a creator, whether it's on TikTok, Instagram, all that. They can nominate them. And they have like 20 different categories, right? So the first year they had it, I think I made it to like top 16 in my category. So pretty much people like they nominate you, and then throughout they have a voting process. They can vote. They have daily votes if they want to donate. It gives extra votes and all that stuff. So first year I
Right.
made it to like top 16, right? So I went to the event still, had fun. I got to meet Paula Abdul. Paula Abdul was at the first event. So I got to like dance on stage
Right.
with her. Like she was so amazing. And so the following year, I was like, no, determined. Like everybody was like, no, you made it to top 16. We're going to get you that award, right? So we worked hard. Everybody worked hard, and we made it. They made it happen. Like they were voting constantly. Everybody was sharing it out. People were donating. Like
Yeah.
it was just a bunch, like everybody coming together, and I ended up winning the beauty and fashion category, and that was last year. So I'm there with a bunch of different, like, huge creators. Like, I know Mama Tot won her award. This year we had my Gay Fabulous Farms won his award,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, it's so amazing now because I went back this year as like a previous winner. So going in, I look at it as like, it's like high school. Like, you get by 4 years. So the first year, freshman year, I was like, okay, we made it to, We made it to the top 16, but actually no, freshman year was the meetup. Sophomore year we made it
Yeah.
top 16. Then our junior year we won the award. So now we came back as like previous winners. Senior year we're just chilling, and so that's
Vibing.
like, yeah, vibe with everyone. I got to see all the like the new creators that come into the event, like all the freshmen, and it's so awesome because it's such a great cause and a great event. I love it because it's like a family that like you meet new people there that year, but then you also reunite with people that you've met, that throughout the years, and that you've
Right.
built a relationship with. So it's pretty cool. I love it.
That is amazing and a great way to continue to build community and be around some of these people. I find it to be so amazing how the idea of influencing people on social media has really become a new form of celebrity, right? I mean, it is a new form of people that people know. I think if I saw you in the street, I would know who you were. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
there's enough people where like you really know certain people, and with the amount of followers and stuff, people know who you are. People really can recognize you from a distance, and I think it's amazing where
Yeah.
we've come as a whole.
Yeah, it's so cool too, especially like seeing like how much more representation like we are, like it's so cool because even with the award show, like you have to think like there's not really a lot of like openly out people that were like there. Like I know when I won my when I think there was maybe one other openly like gay person that won. But this year we had three openly gay people winning their awards, and everybody was out. I was there. I had like makeup on. Like people were so like there was a lot more representation, and a lot of people were coming up to us too. Like, thank you for just being you, authentically
Yeah,
you, showing people like. And I feel like when you're you, you get more respect. Yes, there's going to be people
for
that are
sure.
threatened by that, but they're threatened by the confidence that you have in yourself. A lot of people, it's kind of like a projecting thing. Like, they're not confident with themselves. So, when you see somebody that's so, confident in living in their truth and just themselves, like,
Yeah.
Even if my name was Natalie Nunny, bitches still couldn't chin check me. That's what to Chanel, they know.
Is that was kind of everything.
oh,
Um,
it was such a like iconic, like everybody
that
was,
was such a good moment.
but I
I
loved
was
it
like, this
because
is a
like,
moment.
showing out, it also too like people would tell me throughout like, oh my god, you're off, I can't wait to see what you do next year, da da da. But it also kind of like pushes other people to like up their game. So like when I went this year, I was like, I loved it because like everybody was like just on it. There was like the outfits, we had a masquerade ball, like it was just like the outfits this year was like, okay, y'all understanding the assignment now, like I love it. I
I
love it.
mean, I have been saying that we need a queer-based Met Gala
Oh my god, that's what I treated.
because
I literally treat the
yeah,
award like a Met Gala. Like me and my
yeah.
friend. I don't know if you saw me and my best friend, but we was like with a whole train walking through there, and everybody was like, they did not just bring out a train, and it was so cool because we just walking through, letting it slide. Everybody was like, clear up the space,
Move
don't step
out.
on it,
Yeah,
don't step on it, And I was like, yeah,
yeah.
I loved it.
I'm telling you, a queer Met Gala, they'll get the itinerary correct, and we'll
Yeah.
have the looks we've been waiting for
Well,
from the
when they
Met
do
Gala.
that, make sure I get that invite because I'm trying to show out myself, like.
Listen, I better get the invite. That's all I know. I've said it enough times that if it's created and I'm not there, I'm gonna be very upset.
Oh my god, I would love that. That would be so
I
iconic.
just wanna be in the most outrageous outfit, standing on the red carpet, talking to people as they come in, and I feel like it would be a moment. It would be a
Do you
moment.
feel like you would want to be like a red carpet host, like talking to the people?
Yeah, like I would, but like my outfit would fit the theme, and it would be outrageous. So like people are gonna have to
Oh yeah.
stand like 2 feet away from me, but we're gonna talk because my outfit is gonna take up so much space that it's gonna be kind
Mhm.
of great. But I think I want to welcome every person to the Met Gala, and I feel like if we could live stream this thing, and it would
Mhm.
go viral.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, it would be so much fun. It would be so much.
It would be so iconic. People could not handle it. So, in your journey of life now, what was your dating life like over these years?
Oh, my dating life. Oh, here we go. My dating life has been a little bit rocky. I'm divorced, so I was married for a little while, and yeah, I mean I've only been in like two actually like serious relationships, but yeah, and then I've dated a couple of people.
Okay. Well, let's
What do I
so
unpack first?
yeah, I'm like, where do I start? So I want to start first. Let's kind of go in stages of life. So you become an adult, you're living in New York, you're learning about your queer self. The first interaction you have as a relationship, how did you meet this person? What was it like?
I mean, I feel like I was like dating a few people, but like I was also young when I was in New York. I left New York at 23. So I was like, kind of like going on dates, hanging out. I didn't
Free
really
meals, free drinks?
kind of, yeah, just feeling the vibes, feeling the vibes. I worked in nightlife, so I didn't really have any like serious partners at that time. And then I moved to Florida. When I moved to Florida, that's when I just started focus on like building my own life. I lived on my own, all that stuff, and
Right.
yeah, then I started dating my ex, and we were dating for a little while. Yeah, I didn't get into a serious relationship probably until I was like 26, 27. So I was like single a lot of my life. And I think that's a good and a bad thing because like I enjoy my own company. So like I'm okay being by myself. So it's kind of hard to date because it's like you got to show me that it's better with you than it is with myself because it's pretty fun over here. Over here.
That is, but were you by yourself and like had your hookups
I
and people
mean,
that you
I
knew,
mean, I wasn't.
or are you were you like Miss Celibate in your own
Oh
world, completely
no, I
alone?
was I was not missing no meals, trust me. I was definitely not missing no meals.
See
But yeah,
that also in my opinion makes a very big difference, right? Like some people, when it comes to relationships, in my opinion, I find that the most successful relationships are typically added value. There's somebody that comes into your
yeah,
life and enhance what you already have. And I think a lot of people off the cuff think like sex is an enhancement of like your current situation. And I think being in the queer space, it's not that. You
yeah.
can kind of you can figure that out without needing to commit to anything really. So like kind of really mapping that out and understanding that process I think is very different.
It also shows you too, like when you do like if you do like hook up or whatever, when you're single, you can see yes, you can get it if you want it. It's there. But like when I was single, I knew that okay, yeah, I could get it if I wanted to. Like I just wanted the more like the companionship of the relationships. I'm like, okay. And then I got into a relationship where I wasn't getting, that need met and I was getting the like companionship, but then I realized, okay, wait, no, like that is important. Like we need to have that connection because, if that connection isn't strong, like that's the connection that you have over anybody else because that companionship I could get from my friends. I have really close friends, even if it's not like anything sexual. Like if I wanted to just sit there with somebody to talk to, like I got a best friend. I got like, I got people I can talk to. Like what you have, what they don't have is that access to me. Sexually, you have that access to me. So if that's not being used, what's the difference between you and one of my friends? That's how I look at it.
Facts.
That's how I
Facts.
look at it. Do you need? And it's not like
Yeah,
it's like it has to be an everyday thing, but it's like don't let that go because that is such a recharge to your relationship, and a lot of people don't
yeah,
realize. I think that's also too why I'm not really like a big fan of like the open relationship. Like I'm more of like when I'm date like I've been the bonus person. So like I've tried the whole like to date
Yeah.
the
In a
throuple
throuple?
thing. I've
Yeah.
tried that before. It has its pros and cons, but I've learned that I also don't have like a generic love that everyone gets, you know? I love specifically to the person that I'm getting to know. And when I tried that, I was invited by the couple. So they already have an established relationship. You know, so to
Yeah.
me, they know each other. They're both getting to know one new person. I'm getting to know two new people at the same it's like dating brand new people at the same exact time, trying to learn them at the same time, and they're two totally different people, you know?
Right.
Then it gets to a point where it's like they want to be loved exactly the same. And I'm like, but you guys are two different people. So I can't love you the same.
Facts.
You know, I can't. It's just something that's hard. So that's what was hard for me. And that's why I couldn't really, get into that. So, like, when I'm dating someone, like, I'm territorial. Like, I'm not a jealous person, but I'm like, it's about respect. So it's like, don't be acting all cute and get all touchy feely. But back up a little bit, But I'm also not like, oh, where you going? Who you talking to? All this stuff. Like, no, it's not. It's
Right.
not like that. It's more of a like if we're out, And I also don't make a big deal about it either because it's like I would rather pull my partner off to the side and be like, hey, like this is making me uncomfortable. Like, because sometimes we don't notice it. Sometimes we don't notice when people are like, being flirtatious or whatever like that. So, so that I don't act up, I rather pull him to the side and be like, hey, I need you to like pay attention because this make me feel a type of way. And if you don't correct it and I have to correct it, it's not gonna be cute. So
You're gonna catch these hands.
pretty much like y'all both gonna catch these hands because that person already knows and you should
Yeah.
already.
Definitely, it's a journey of learning where your boundaries are and being very, very clear about what it is that you want the relationship to turn into. Um, Getting married. What, how, where, when, why, what was the whole thing?
Oh my gosh, me getting married. So like so I was bartending. There was this guy, he would come in and you know, it wasn't
Sugar
like
daddy?
anything,
Just
huh?
kidding.
No, definitely it was definitely not a sugar daddy thing because he was really working at the moment. So definitely not a sugar daddy thing. No, but he would come in and he would like I guess at the time he was like going through something in his previous relationship. And so like I was just the bartender. Like people always vet the bartender. I didn't feel that like initial like he wasn't a bad looking guy. Like he was a good looking guy, but I didn't feel like, oh my God, I want to date this guy. Like, no, he'd just be at the bar, we're talking, and I was Dr. Philling it and, just helping him through being a bartender. And so like um I didn't realize that he like had feelings towards me until I had plans to go to Busch Gardens with my brother, and we were talking, and then he was like, oh, I have a Busch Gardens pass. I was like, oh, like you should come with us, like if you want to. I didn't think of that. I'm just like inviting like as a friend. He was like, okay, no problem. And so he ended up like canceling or whatever. He couldn't make it. I'm like, all right, it's not a big deal. Like I was still gonna go anyways with my brother. Like I just invited you. And so he was like, no, I'm so sorry. Like, let me make it up to you. Like, let me take you out on a date. And I was like, a date? Like, I didn't even know you liked me like that. Like, a date. So I was like, all right, whatever. So I was single. So I was like, all right, I'll go on a date. And so he was like, I didn't think anything of it too much because, like, he had got out his relationship and I was like, not trying to be a rebound, all that stuff. So he goes and he takes me on a date and he was very like a gentleman. He opened a door for me, all that stuff. It was cute. So I was like, oh, look at him. He's like a gentleman. All right. And so we just like like we hung out like almost every day afterwards. And it was like one of those situations where I kind of felt like, when you hang out with a guy and they like kind of slowly move into your house. So I felt like because like he'd come over, he'd like spend a lot of nights together. It's like, not a bad thing because it was new to me. So I was like, all right. But like then he was
You
like,
woke up You woke up one day and he had a drawer full of his stuff there.
No, like the duffel bag was there. And so but then I was like, I kind of like hinted to him like, okay, so like what are you doing about your situation? Because he was like, leaving, like I guess the house that he was living with his ex or whatever, they were selling it and all that stuff. So I was like, okay. So he ended up like roommating with a friend. So I'm like, all right. But then he would always still be at my house. So I'm like, I've never lived with the guy before. So I was like, and at the time I had my family living with me too. So it's like a lot of people in this little ass apartment. So but still, he was there. He was always at my house, and I'm like, I mean, you're paying for a room that you're never at, so I'm like, you might as well just stay here, and that money that you're putting towards the room, you can put towards these bills that are in this house. And so, like, that's what happened. He like kind of moved in. Our relationship, like, we started dating in April. It moved like very quickly. I feel like for me, it like moved very quickly and he proposed to me in September. So we dated in April. We got made it official in April. Like I've never had somebody propose to me before, and you know, I like it was literally he proposed to me on the top of like Pikes Peak in Colorado. It was a mountain. Like we drove all the way up to the mountain. Proposed to me. Like it was yes that like on the top of the highest mountain in Colorado. My best friend and her husband were there. And I'm sitting here, he gets on one knee, and I'm like, wow. Like in my head, I'm like, this is very fast. But I'm like, well, we're here. Like, what you gonna do? You're gonna say yes, you're gonna say no. And I'm like, well, we get along very well. Like I had to like go through everything in my head. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, we get along very well. Like he already lives with me. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, so I said yes. And I'm like, all right. So I said yes. And um we had like an engagement party where we kind of like announced it to everyone that we got engaged and we let them know when we were going to get married. So it was a year after that date. So I gave everybody time to prepare for this wedding. So I'm like, also ourselves time because I'm like, this is very
Right.
quick. I'm like, we're going to be engaged for about a year, you know, and,
Yeah.
we make it to the year, then we get married, cool. So we go,
Right.
everything is good. And, like we started bickering right before the wedding. And that was like, should have been my like red flag because we never bickered before. But
Yeah.
everyone was telling me, oh, it's because you guys are having pre wedding jitters, da 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 da. And I'm like, I don't know. But I put that aside. I was like, I still went.
People, I mean, but relationships, I mean, do have ups and downs, right? Like there are
Yeah.
people like
It's
there's a
not
time where like the first few, I wouldn't say it's a red flag. If it's the first few, I mean, we're getting to know each other more, we're together more, I see you every day, you're
now
eating.
we were together for like a year and nothing like we wouldn't argue. We got along very well. And it was like a month before the wedding, we started bickering and like we literally were like bickering at the rehearsal dinner before the wedding. Like
Okay,
bickering at
red
the
flag.
table. It was a
Okay, red
like I literally like I had to like I went to the bathroom because I was so pissed off and I was like I really like don't want to be out there and he's like in there like we were like arguing in the bathroom. I'm like, why are you doing this it like the day before our wedding, like we're at the rehearsal dinner, our family's outside, like it was just but then I was
flag.
like, what, we're here, we went through it, we had a beautiful wedding, my family was there, like my mom walked me down the aisle, like it was a beautiful wedding, we had everybody there. And so like everything like there was a lot of things in our relationship that really just kind of just jumbled it all up. And so nothing really changed. We just argued a lot and our intimacy was not there and that escalated a lot of things and it was just a lot. And so um that 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 relationship kind of like messed me up a little bit as far as like
Yeah.
trusting because like for him to move out it was it was when we were dating he was very adamant of like I'm not into taking breaks, like no, we're either together or we're not, so if things get rough like we have to stick it out, or if we're taking breaks then we're not together. So that was what was kind of like drilled into my head, the relationship. And so to me when we were bickering towards the end, and he was like, "Oh, like I think we should take a break. Like I'm thinking of moving out," and I'm like, "Excuse me?"
Who's this?
I was like, first of all, like, what do you mean, like, take a break? So, like, when he moved out or whatever, I was like, okay, well, if you're serious about moving out, that was like, it was like a deal that I made towards myself of like, if he's serious and not willing to fight for this, and if he leaves, I'm leaving. And
Right.
that's what happened. Like, he left and he moved out, and I got my passport and I went to Mexico. I went to Cancun with my best friend. I was like, all right, cool. You out? I'm out.
Cancun.
Yeah, so
You're
we
like,
spent,
who's on Grinder in Cancun?
yeah, me and my best friend, like, we went because her girlfriend was like playing a tournament. So, like, I just wanted to get away and I got my passport. We went to Cancun and we spent Thanksgiving out there. And from there on, I just started working on myself. It messed me up a lot because it was hard for me to trust people for the long time because I felt like, how can you really like believe what anybody says anymore in a relationship? Not to compare everybody to that, situation, but I feel like I fell for the fairy tale. Like I'm like I felt
Yeah,
like I got proposed on a mountain. I had the wedding, I had all that. So and he was able to just walk away. Like no.
yeah,
I'm like, okay, how do I know nobody's gonna do that? So how do I believe when people are like, oh, the fairy tale, the roses, the this, the that? I'm like, no, you know what? I don't even care about all that. Just show me you really here. Like that's where I'm at.
yeah,
So I've done a lot of like the self-reflecting, the healing that I need to do.
yeah,
And it's also taught me a lot that, I feel like I kind of got it out my system. Like, when you're dating and if you've never been married before, you kind of still have that like fairy tale dream of like, oh my God, I want to marry this person. So when you date somebody, you're instantly looking like, oh my God, like, would we get married? Like, type of thing. So
yeah.
no longer do that. Like, I no longer do that because it's like, I'm not in a rush. Not saying that I would never get married again. I'm not like that jaded. I'm a romantic person. Like, a hopeless romantic. I love love.
Clearly,
Yeah, I love love. And so I'm not
yeah,
against it. It's just more of, I am now focused on, I want to learn the person. I want to see, how you are when you're upset. I want to see how you are when you're sad. I want to see like, all those things. I'm not worried about, oh my God, are we going to have a house together? Are we going to get married together? Are we going to have kids? Like, no, I already raised other people's kids. I'm not in a rush to have kids. I don't even care if I'm an old dad. I don't care. I would do it. I would do it. You think I'm too old to go to your little soccer game? No, go ahead. You go to your little soccer game. I'll sit in my little tent with my little umbrella and watch you as a little old man. That's my that's my kid right there. All that. So I don't care about all that.
more power to you. The older I get, the less I want children, and the less I even want to change a diaper. But I mean, you have in really a short period of time, really have experienced a lot in your life and learned a lot of what I would consider life lessons. What advice would you give the 17-year-old version of you?
The 17-year-old virgin version of myself.
I hope she was a virgin.
I don't know about that.
She definitely was not. She definitely
Right.
was not.
Yeah, the 17-year-old version of myself, I would say just keep being you. Just keep, anybody who's at that age and just confused about don't worry so much about what's going to happen, what's in the future, all that stuff. Just focus on the present and building your circle. Build your support system. Keep building it. It's going to change throughout your life. People will fall off, people will come in, but I feel like having a support system is so important in anything that do in life, because when you have good people around, like you can get through anything. You can get through anything. And even when you don't feel like there's anyone around, there's someone that'll be there, even if it's a total stranger. You never know. You talk to that total stranger and they could become your best friend. You learn from everyone.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, if you were to meet someone that was your current age, that's 34, and you meet them and they're closeted and they ask you for advice on how to live authentically, what would be your advice to them?
Um, if they were planning to come out, and I would probably ask them, do they feel comfortable being asked about it, or are they the type of people that would like to announce it? That's super important on how like I came out. And as far as like the first steps to come out, I would say it's hard. I would say find someone first who you're comfortable with, who you feel like would accept you. And then after that one person, find the person that is the most important to you and that you feel like their opinion is the most important to you, because that is the like that's a crucial thing. Like with me, my most important person was my mom. So when my mom, like, talking to my friend before my mom showed me, okay, there's people that will accept me. And on top of that, I had somebody in my corner in case things didn't go right with my mom, because those my
Right.
ones that got me through those days that my mom didn't talk to me. So have your support system first, even if it's like one or two friends that you can confide in that accept you, and then find the person that you feel like is the most, like, you care about their opinion the most. And hopefully they accept you the way that you are, because the power that that person unlocks when they accept you is crazy. When my mom sat there and talked to me and accepted me, I didn't care who in the world knew. I didn't care who. Oh, you don't like me? That's cool. I got the approval from the most important person,
Right.
you know? Like, bet I got friends. And, and the people that do love you and appreciate you will gravitate to you regardless.
I love that. I think that is so true. And I would reiterate on that so much. Make sure that the first person you tell is somebody that is on your side,
Yes.
because it could be the detriment to you continuing moving forward to living authentically you by
Hmm.
not having that first positive interaction about it.
Hmm. It's so true. Because, like, some people need more than one person. Like, you could have, like, your small group of friends that you could have, you know, but before you go tell that person, um, and also, too, try not to wait too long, because that also, like, can potentially make it worse, because then they're like, oh, why did you wait so long to tell me, and all that stuff. And I know everyone has their own time. Like, everyone has their, like, I make that so important. Like, don't ever out someone, don't ever, like, people have, that's something so important. Let people do their own journey,
Yeah,
and
for
don't
sure.
understand, like, you could potentially hurt someone a lot by outing them. And that
Yeah.
is so dangerous, and it's
Yeah.
not.
We definitely do not encourage outing people. Never out anyone. You
Yes,
would not want to be outed yourself.
exactly.
And for the straight people that like to out people, you're the ones that are in the dungeons getting spanked and don't make us out you.
That part. I mean, I know. Anyway.
Now we know some. Now we know some. We got
Yeah,
some
but
personal interactions with a few of them.
yeah, it's just that, like, it's so important. Like, you could potentially, like, it's so dangerous. Like, mental health is so important,
Yeah,
and you could be the reason that someone doesn't want to be here anymore, and you don't want that. So just let
yeah,
people live their life. Try to be as encouraging, even if they're not, like, if you're not that way and you don't understand it, don't speak about it. Don't speak about it. If you don't know about it and you don't understand it, don't speak about it. The people that don't understand it, don't know about it, and then speak on it, that's when the ignorance comes out. And that's when it's like you can cause damage, because it's like, why cause that friction? So,
exactly. So, to bring this podcast to a close, the only way we know how, with a little bit of being messy, with a little shade, who would you officially like to say girl bye to?
Well, there's a few people that I've already said girl bye to. So if it's someone, I want to say maybe the first person that I said girl bye to, it would have to be that cousin that was very close to me. I said girl bye a long time ago, and we stopped talking for a long time, long time. Um, but now as we gotten older, we're not like we still don't really talk, but it's like we kept it cordial.
Yeah,
That's about it. But I said girl bye a long time ago.
period. Girl bye. I think it is so great to get that sense of letting go and learning that what you have to offer can really increase other people's lives as well. And it's not being overly loving of myself or keeping myself too high, but it's the idea of the fact that like you ultimately can become a better version of yourself by kind of not carrying that dead weight or what I consider the people that come and suck your energy for free.
It's true though, because like when like we have to normalize that. We have to normalize, it's okay to cut people off. Sometimes you don't even need an explanation. Like we're adults. Like I don't like if I it should be obvious enough if I don't want to talk to you. Like if you're blocked, if you're unfriended, if you're like that, like you know, when when they don't want you to be around. So I think it's clear. I think it's clear, the people who have experienced that. And, it's not even one person specific, it's several different people. And I feel like my energy, especially my mental health, is so important right now. I'd rather surround myself with people that are kind of feeding that mental health and kind of like, encouraging it instead of like damping it. Like, is like, I don't want to put a damper
Right.
on my mental health. And like, I work very hard. And I definitely don't want to be stressed out with people like, oh, okay, like, you're not a fan of mine, you don't like me, cool. Like, there's so many other people that you can hang out with. Like, you stress,
So
yeah, people stressing over it, like, makes me realize, oh, wow, your energy really is, missed because now they're making a big deal of like, oh, you don't want to be my friend? Why is that so important? Don't you have other friends?
and that's on period.
So, okay, girl, bye.
So girl
Girl, bye.
bye. Sip on that tea and that's what it
Girl,
is.
bye.
Right.
Girl, bye.
So, I want to first thank you for unpacking your life story and taking some time to be vulnerable. I think that all of us as a community being vulnerable can be very difficult, and being able to kind of open up and express ourselves in a different way is what we're trying to highlight here. Um, Go ahead and tell everybody where they can find you on social media and anything else that you want to plug, anything else you have coming up that they should be on the lookout for.
Well, to find me on social media, you can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Instagram. It's the Ace Touch at the Ace Touch, and also YouTube as well. There's a lot of things coming up. I was just recently asked by TikTok to join them at VidCon. So I'll be representing TikTok Live and my agency. So I'm super excited. It's my first time at
Wow.
VidCon.
I am so excited for you. I think this is definitely a part of the journey for you, and I want you to keep pushing yourself to reach as high of heights as you can because it is so important that we, as a community, continue to put ourselves in these spaces and really show people that we are the baddest bitches.
That part. Yup, because if you're gonna call me a bitch, you better put that in front of it.
Period.
No, but like honestly,
Um,
I'm so grateful and thank you for even being interested in knowing my story and inviting me onto the podcast and yeah, just giving me a safe space to open up and be vulnerable. So I appreciate it. It's definitely a good vibe.
yeah, thank you to everybody listening. Thank you for joining us every single week. And check out the description on YouTube. You can find all of Ace's links to his social media. So you can go there, make sure you go follow, make sure you go like, make sure you go do all the things that everybody's supposed to be doing on all the social media platforms. And make sure that you take a second this week and really just think about what makes you super happy and take at least 5 minutes to do one of those things so that you can lighten up your week if it's a very terrible week. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next one.
And that's all, period.
Girl, bye.
Girl, bye.
Girl, bye.
Girl,
Girl, bye.
bye.
Bye, girl, bye.